What's going on, you lot? I hope you're all sweet. So, as you all know, the new Sony RX100 VII has been on the map for a couple of weeks now, and it's absolutely jam-packed with an absolute madness set of features. Now, this little number is basically a Sony A9 in a compact little body. Now, they've actually taken the autofocus capabilities of the A9 and whacked it in here, which is just absolutely ridiculous when you think about it. We've got active steady shot in 4K, which makes vlogging super easy. The camera also automatically records in the metadata if you're recording in 16:9 or 9:16. So when you whack your files into your laptop, mate, they're already in that correct aspect ratio that you shot them in. We've obviously got that 180-degree flip screen so that you can actually see yourself and compose and expose. It's got a stacked 1-inch CMOS sensor, mate, with a 24 to 200mm lens. Like, 200mm? Really? Do we need that? Dunno. And lastly, the two favourite features of mine, the hybrid log gamma colour profile, mad colour profile, loads of dynamic range, perfect for grading. And of course, the holy grail of this cheeky little camera, mate, a bloody mic jack. Sony, how long did it take you to put this in here? Honestly. Come on, we needed this earlier, but sick little feature, mate. We can now actually get really, really good audio from this little number right here. But hold on, all of these features sound great, but how do you know if this thing is actually going to be sick until you've actually used it in real life environments, in real authentic moments? For me, these little cameras are all about capturing real life moments that you can't really get massive rigs out for. I feel like vlogging nowadays has kind of taken a back seat on the story side of their video, and they're just pushing for quality. If you take it back to how vlogging kind of started, it was all about logging an experience. It was all about a video log. It was all about sharing that authentic moment with your audience. And that is the reason why I absolutely love these cameras, because you can whack them in your pocket, no setup time, pull it out, flip the screen up, and there you go, mate. You're ready to rock and roll, and you are there sharing a real environment the minute that you experience it yourself, instead of getting to your location, kind of, realising you want to shoot something, put your bag down, unzip it, get the rig out, stick the mic on, turn the mic on, make sure that you're in frame, and then start recording. That authentic moment isn't authentic anymore because you've got to recreate it after you've got your camera out. That is the reason why I absolutely love the Sony RX100 series. Now, I've been lucky enough to take this little number to the south of France. I'm very surprised Sony actually lent me this thing after seeing my RX100 Mark IV. I mean, I'm very lucky that it actually came back in this state. I don't think Sony would ever trust me again if I was to bring it back looking like that, mate. So happy days. Now, I wanted to take this camera and see what it's like in real life vlogging situations. I don't really want to do any setup stuff. I want to take it and really see what it's got and see how good it is as a vlogging camera. Now, the thing on everyone's mind is the mic jack. Everyone is going to want to be sticking a mic on this little number. Now, Sony actually recommends that you use something like this, which essentially isn't a compact camera anymore. Look at the size of this compared to my Sony a7S Mark II. Like, where's the size difference? This is no longer a compact camera. Why would you want to use something like this over something like this? And that was something that I really had to pick my brain about and try and find a solution for. So I actually found this little number right here, the Saramonic mic. Now, this little microphone actually just pops into the side of the camera in the mic jack, and there you go, mate. Check out the absolute state of that, mate. That is now actually still a compact camera, and I'll be honest, look at that. That actually makes it worth it. I can actually now whip this in my pocket, get great audio, great video. Happy days, mate. So let me take you straight back to the south of France and let you see how I got on vlogging with this little number. Right, these helmets, what we doing?
Helmets. Bit of Malibu, hopefully a little bit of gin. We're going to get a little Red Bull out of the fridge. Lime?
That's a lemon.
That's a lemon.
Lemon shells.
Shells for the girls, yeah?
We're making a watermelon bowl for your cocktail. So, we're not wasting anything here. Recycle, reuse. So.
Is that your motto, Banks, yeah?
Yeah, save the dolphins.
Yeah.
No straws, no animals are harmed during this making of this image.
No plastic straws allowed.
Right, we're going to carve out the middle.
A moment of love, a dream, a lie, a kiss, a cry, our rights.
did too much.
What? That's too much.
A moment of love, a dream, a life. Just stay there.
Right, I can't say these two are quite like Good Life Cooking at their cocktail making, but mate, decent little number here. So as you can see, the quality of this number is absolutely sick and the audio is absolutely wicked, especially coming out of a little mic like this. Now, it's not all happy days, mate. This mic, I'll be honest, is actually unusable in quite a few different situations. Now, to actually make this mic work, you have to bring the audio levels on the camera all the way down to 1. Level 1, mate. So that doesn't really give you that much room for when you're in a really loud environment. Especially when you get a little bit of wind, mate. This mic blows out and peaks so easily. What's good, the people? So we just finished up a little cheeky sunset shoot here, mate. It's a little bit windy, so let me try and give you some coverage. So much of my footage was actually ruined simply because this mic blew out every single time. So in my experience, this little Saramonic mic is absolutely brilliant if you're in an environment that is not windy. This kind of sky, mate, this is the sunset sky, but the sun rises over here, mate. So this is going to be such a sick spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back first thing in the morning with my man Jack, and we're going to do some shooting with the RX100, mate, and see what it's got in terms of stills. If you're in an environment that's windy, mate, you're going to have to look into using something like the Rode Video Mic Ro. Rode Video Mic Ro. Now, obviously, this one is slightly smaller than the Rode Video Mic Pro, but it does have that fat wind muff on it. And obviously, again, you have to mount it just like you would any normal microphone on a hot shoe or a cold shoe mount. What I would actually recommend is getting one of these brackets for when you're shooting outdoors in windy environments. So for me, that little setup there is not too bad. That is still pretty damn compact, and your audio quality, mate, is going to be spot on. And you're not really going to get that much wind issues with these. I mean, unless you're in an absolute hurricane, mate, and then the last thing you're going to be thinking about is your audio quality anyway, so you're probably going to die. But the Saramonic mic is definitely a better option for when you're out and about and it's not windy. If you're in a windy location, mate, I definitely have this in your back pocket. Vlogging, mate. Everyone wants some cinematic goodness out of one of these numbers. So I think it's pretty safe to say, mate, this little number is extremely cinematic. So having a little cinematic powerhouse in a tiny little body that can also get great audio quality with a mic, what else do you need for taking on trips, mate? Like, this pretty much hits the button every single time. Now, if you lot know me well, you know that I absolutely love techno music. I put it in pretty much every single one of my videos. It doesn't make sense for the video, but you know what? I just can't help it, mate. That bass line just gets me. So me and my mates actually went off to a techno festival and see how it got on in them kind of environments. Festivals like that, you are not allowed to take cameras like these, and it's definitely not a practical place that you want to be taking one of these cameras. So one of these is probably your only option for capturing real life authentic moments with friends. That is basically why I have my RX100, to take out in environments and situations like that. Now, you lot know me, I'm really not a massive fan of using autofocus. I like to be choosing where I'm focusing, racking my focus as and when I want to pull focus from one thing to another. But when you're vlogging, the video autofocus on here is absolutely sick, mate. Pretty much wherever you are in the frame, it is like locked onto your eye at all times. It just makes it that much easier to whip out your pocket, turn on, and you know you are ready to rock and roll to actually shoot that story and that environment. So after using this camera for an entire week, I'm pretty damn sure that this is probably the best compact stills camera in the galaxy, mate. But for vlogging and video, I do feel like there is a few little features that if they whacked in this camera, this would be the best vlogging camera about, mate. It genuinely would. Now, those two features are a wide angle lens and ND filters. Now, I know what you're thinking, mate. Sony used to put ND filters in this camera. Now, the fact they haven't got NDs in the Mark VII means that when you're shooting in really bright environments, you have to crank up your shutter speed so you don't get that lovely motion blur anymore. So they've kind of taken a hit on video users to increase the performance of the focal length. I reckon about 90% of videographers are not going to be using the 200mm zoom on this thing. I think if Sony was able to implement two different versions of this thing, one with an ND filter and a wide angle lens, this thing would be absolutely perfect for videographers. If this lens could go down to an 18, maybe an 18 to 55, or even a 16, I don't know how possible that is to whack in a tiny little body like this and then stick the NDs in there. This thing would be an absolute vlogging powerhouse, and it would actually make me consider moving over to one of these instead of using something like an A7S or an A6000 camera for life, mate. So people, to round up, this camera is absolutely sick. Is it the perfect stills camera? I think so. Is it the perfect video camera? Almost. They got it so damn close. Sony, please make two versions of this camera. One for stills, this one, and one for video shooters with a wide-ass lens and ND filters. I know that's asking a bit of a lot, but you know, mate, you've got to ask for it to get it. Come on, Sony, do the people a favour. But thank you so much, Sony, for lending me this camera. It is actually sick, and I'm very much hoping that I can get my hands on one of these in the future. Anyway, people, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do hope that it gives you a good insight into the Sony RX100 Mark VII. Let me know in the comments what you think would be the ultimate features of this camera to make it an absolute cinematic beast. And as always, I'll be catching you lot in the next video, mate. Peace.
Call us Jack and Hansel's famous cocktail making. I've had too many.
Mate, I can barely open my eyes in this light.
Well, if you don't open your eyes, how am I going to know if the eye autofocus is working in video? There we go, mate. Look at that autofocus tracking on the eyes, mate.